It's time to go back and have another little look at my little farm with the lovely Julia in tow. Hello.
Hello.
Now, we haven't been here for a while and there's only a couple of people here, so there's been a lot of changes since we've last been here. And one of the reasons, I forget what Kiva, who is, I suppose, the head honcho of my little farm, has made me, not quite sure what he's made me, an associate member, an ambassador, an idiot that turns up occasionally and just sees what's going on. Anyway, whatever it is, we'd just like to report on this on the channel about this particular project, because it's a community project run by people who've invested money in it, and we keep hearing about a number of these sorts of things which are not working because too many people have egos, but this one seems to be working very well. Can I get you to do the gate, Julia?
Yep.
So, as Kiva's not actually here, and often we would just get him to take us around and tell us what's going on, we're going to use our own bit of nonce here. Now, as I remember it, it's a 14-acre site on the South Downs in East Sussex, and the main entrance and area of welcoming and the workshops and stuff, or kitchen area and that sort of thing, and is that way. We have two big fields, which I imagine must be about 7 acres each, something like that. And here, where we're standing, the last time we were here, which was about a month ago, there were pigs in huts and piglets, and we had extended, hadn't we?
Yeah, we doubled their enclosure size.
But they've all been moved, and apparently one of the teenager ones have now got pregnant and had piglets themselves.
Yeah,
so
exciting.
Things can happen very quickly on a community farm. So as we come back, we're going to see if we can spot the pigs. Also, there's some very exciting news. We're very thrilled because we've just come back from Dora's Dairy, where we've been milking John Cook's cows,
And
Sarah's, yeah, and Amelia's and the whole team. But they're going to get a couple of Jersey cows here, which will be fantastic. Now, we come with some experience of milking, but I don't know that they'll let us. But at least we can learn a little bit more on our trip. So we're walking past the fruit forest. That's where the pigs were, you can see behind us. So
one enclosure shed thing left standing so far.
But they seem to have got some more arcs ahead. So let's go and have a look at those. The sound you can hear there of the dogs, they're the guard dogs, who are still quite ferocious to strangers, but once you get to know them, they're all right. But they seem to be okay. So we saw an arc there. There is actually a couple of people on site who are doing some building work, really, and various bits and pieces. There's a lot going on, actually, on the site, which is really encouraging to see. They've got some new runner ducks, haven't they?
They have. I can see them in the pen with the chickens over there, so that's nice.
And that's a special type of breed, isn't it? I mean, they've got a different name, but the ducks are kind of like known for running.
Yes, in particular.
In particular. So, and they're good layers. Apparently, they lay up to about 300 eggs a year, each, obviously.
Each? I don't know.
So that's almost an egg every day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, this is so encouraging to see, having not been on site for a week, to see that things move on. Julia and I are absolutely desperate to find our own bit of land and to cultivate it, grow stuff, and have some animals in the same way as what's going on this community farm. They've now got a massive, great big run for these piglets. We extended the old run a little bit just to help out. But here, look at these pigs now. They're growing up and they've got quite a big area. And I'm wondering if they're going to do a little bit of mob grazing with them, you know, a bit of rotation, and turn them around every few weeks. Looks like they might have been doing that because there seems to be on the other side a little area where they may have been in and they've left it and moved them. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. When we were last here, these what they were calling the teenagers were housed in the shed that's now disappeared, or is about to come down, I think. And they've got a bigger pen as well. One of them, as we mentioned before, has had babies, and they are slowly getting bigger. It takes, I think, something like a year, just under, isn't it, if I remember rightly, Julia, for them to get to sort of the point where they're ready. They're grown to the largest size they'll grow, and then most people usually put them to the pot at that point.
Invite them to the abattoir.
Invite them, yeah. You're given an invitation to join us at the abattoir, and
the less than pleasant part of it.
The less than pleasant part. However, you know, they're breeding some more, and another 5 piglets are here. Not quite sure where they are.
I'm sure we'll find them soon.
Yes, we'll go and have a little rummage around.
We'll leave them over that. Hello, girl. How are you? Hiya. Hiya. Hi. How are you doing? How you doing, ladies? How you doing? Hey?
We come back to the sows, which, if you were following on the previous videos that we made here, I dug a wallow pool. We had some hot weather for once, and I dug this wallow pool. It's great to see that's still there, and clearly that is being used. But we also, later on, Julia and I came back and we built a temporary shelter just to keep them going. The wood stuff, the materials, we didn't really have that much to work with, unfortunately. And now it's hanging here a complete and utter mess. I'd love to see that all removed. The scratching pad is still up, but our shelter has just been devoured. It was only really as a temporary shelter. I think a wooden shelter with significant posts in it to hold it in would have been nice for the pigs, just to get them out of the sun. Because here on the South Downs, when it is sunny and the chemtrails are not flying and the clouds are not covering it, it can be quite blistering. And this is a south-facing hill. Right in the distance is the Ark, which is south-facing, and reading the books, actually that should be perhaps north-facing. So again, the sows can go in there and have a bit of shelter from the sun, although of course the whole thing's exposed to the sun, so they can't really cool down very well. Hello, old chap, young lady. I think the difference with us, with Julia, well, don't push me over. The difference with Julia and I is we're going to be living on site when we get our land. That's the key thing, so that we will be there to sort out all issues, and also spend a lot more time building, constructing permanent structures. I mean, they're doing an amazing job here on the farm, on the community farm, and people come from miles to come down, so they can't be on site to do repairs and things. People have invested money in certain sections of it. They've become members, and I'll leave the link in the description if you're interested yourselves. And you can come down just for the experience and seeing the animals, feeding them at the appropriate times, obviously, and helping with the growing, and also sharing in some of the harvest. Julia's managed to do a sort of quick fix.
Just trying to retie some of it up and get it up off the floor, a bit more shelter. And
yeah. But
something to do.
Absolutely.
Untangle the pig from it.
We haven't had a huge amount of chance just to come on a regular basis, and so, you know, we'd love to sort of get involved a bit more and help and bring in some supplies and all of that. But because we're looking for our own place and our own land, and the channel is quite demanding in the time, the interviews and things that I do, we just don't get that opportunity. But it's lovely to be an associated member to help promote this sort of thing and see it grow. And it will only grow, and all the members are learning all the time, as we will when we finally get our place and start having animals. But to us, animals are going to be the critical thing for us. There's a lot of people growing, and we will be doing the growing, of course, of market garden stuff. But I think for us, the animals, their welfare, their ability to keep them going. There's so much forcing farmers at the moment to stop farming that we've got to find ways in which the government don't interfere so much, because the policies that they have are being directed to them by the likes of the WEF and the WHO. Whoa!
I've been taken for a ride by the pig. She put her head between my knees and lifted me off the ground.
Show us again.
I don't think we could. Are we performing animals, are we? I don't think she says we are.
These are the boars. We're not, for some reason, I'm not quite sure really, not too familiar with the boars actually, compared to the sows. The sows, because we were working with them. The boars are a lot bigger. I don't know that they're any more aggressive or anything, not that the others are aggressive, but they may not be as friendly. Their layout down here is a lot more secluded and sheltered. They've got some of these bushes around to sort of nudge in a little bit, which has been very useful for them. And they're on a public footpath here which runs parallel to their pen, so they probably get a fair bit of attention from passers-by, which is rather nice. They look in good form, which is nice to see. You'd like to say a few words to the camera, young rascals?
How you doing, lads? You right?
Inside that ark, we can't really get in there. I don't want to go and intrude. But it's the third sow. That is of the teenagers. Mm-hmm. And there's some black and white looking piglets in there who are feeding from her.
Suckling at the moment, bless them.
Looks very cute, but as I say, can't really...
No, don't want to disturb them.
Don't want to disturb them.
Apparently she's a little bit protective of them anyway.
And not surprised.
No.
But they've got a nice little pen here, as you can see, and they've got their ark, which hopefully, being silver, is reflecting the light, so they're not too hot.
Well, this area's grown up a little bit. These trees have shot up a little. The hazels are up another 1.5 foot, 2 foot. It's great. It's mint or lemon balm. Mint spreading, as mint does.
It's great to see the diversity of different plants and trees here. And there's even apples on the apple tree here, look. Slowly coming up. I don't know, this must be the 2nd or 3rd year, I suppose. And if you can see that.
Richard and I were introduced to this lovely plant recently at, actually I think it was at Gaunt's house at the Sounds Beautiful Festival. But yes, so this is self-heal. Good to be boiled in put in boiling water in a cup and sopped for, head colds and things actually, which was funny because I then fell ill with a head cold. Yeah, gorgeous.
And that is a particularly large example. They do grow quite proficiently in the wild, but it's lovely to see them here in this garden. You've got wild strawberries here, haven't you?
Yeah, the alpine, as I know them. I don't know why I call them alpine, I know them as that. But wild strawberries, and then you've got larger strawberries over there. It's all lovely. Lots of tiny little grapes. Look at that.
It just goes to show, in such a small space what you can grow, and we've not covered barely any of it in this very tiny little area, really. But as you can see, grasses overgrow, and if you're not in control, weeds can take over, etc. So it's a full-on job to keep what you want up and what you don't want down. But they don't seem to be harmed at all by the grasses. And the one thing that we discovered after reading, I think it's Gabe Brown's book, Dirt to Soil, is the importance of keeping roots in the ground. And actually, there's an interesting statistic that when you plough a field, it takes 100 years to put back the nutrients and repair the damage that ploughing does. And of course, farmers have been traditionally ploughing fields for millennia, many millennia. But actually the no-dig, the no-tilling process, people are beginning to realise now that actually that is a more sensible way of growing. So although there's lots of grass here, it's bringing in the sun, the nutrients from the sun into the earth, fixing that nitrogen, and the mitochondria underneath is able to supply all these plants, part of the sort of the Earth's worldwide web, as it were, of feeding and nutrients.
It's also water retention in the soil as well.
Absolutely, yeah, no, absolutely. So here on the Downs, where we are, it's principally chalk, but we're just a little north of the last South Down ridge, so we get into clay, and having water retention, especially on days when you get into the long summers that we used to have, very important.
Fancy new gate. Very nice. Going up to check on the potatoes, see how they're doing. So that's the second to last thing we did when we were here.
It is, isn't it? Yes. And we were weeding away right at the top to see how they were doing. But since then, they had only one polytunnel in. Now it looks like they've got 2 polytunnels here. That one there, which I think has got tomatoes in it. And then the second polytunnel, which has come up here.
Looks like it's got lettuces in it.
And
among other things,
they've moved the, let's just straighten the camera a bit. They've moved greenhouses up here.
2 little greenhouses.
Which makes a lot of sense. Up on the top.
Apparently they've barely survived the recent winds they've had. Yeah, are a little bit knackered, bless. Ouch. Barefoot and spikes on the floor.
Thistles.
That's the one.
Thistles. So when we were up here last, these potatoes were tiny, tiny little plants. And now they are growing a bit. But
they look like they could do with more weeding.
Yes.
Lots more weeding needed. And some water.
That's a shame, isn't it? Because we did weed those quite well. But let's just walk along. Thistles in this part of the area must be an absolute pig. But they've also got some other crops in now, which they've got under this netting, so it lets the light in, but the birds can't get to it, presumably. But the potatoes, some of the potatoes are quite big.
Yeah. All the plants are getting up nice.
Well, our little trip to my little farm has come to an end. It's great to see everything going and seeing the change. The challenges that we've had this year have been really grim with the weather, but that's part of the fun, I guess. You're outside, you're dealing with the elements, even if they are being manipulated by nefarious people, and I think they've done remarkably well. The community spirit is clearly strong, people coming in the week to work, putting their hands in the ground, operating tractors, building, moving the pigs, feeding, the whole work. What an amazing project. and it's so thrilling to be part of that.
It is a privilege to be able to watch it, isn't it, and see it happen and come back and see the changes.
So we'll report back from here in a few months' time and let you know what's going on. In the meantime, we're still looking for our little bit of heaven, and we aim to...
Is it over there?
It might be. It's got to be somewhere, and we'll bring you that story as and when it happens. But anyway, for now, from my little farm in East Sussex, thanks for watching. Till next time, goodbye.
Bye for now.